This is a complex story about Leonard Shelby, Guy Pearce. His ability to make new memories is damaged when he is struck in the head while confronting two people who are attacking his wife. He kills one of the attackers during the attack. One of the last things Leonard remembers is his wife dying. The movie alternates between color and black and white sequences. Black and white scenes proceed in chronological order, while the color sequences proceed in reverse chronological order. The forward and reverse color scenes alternate until they meet in the middle of the story at the end of the film. In the 2-disc DVD set, the second disc contains the movie in chronological order. Some functions, fast forward, chapter skip, etc., are disabled. This synopsis describes the scenes in chronological order. It is not the plot order presented in the film. The film is currently in cinemas in the UK. The story starts in black and white. Leonard Shelby wakes up in a room at the discount and puzzled as to why he is there. He tells the caller that he suffers from anterograde amnesia. Leonard describes how one must have a system of notes to deal with the problems and a drive to use them. Leonard says he has the drive that Sammy never had. Leonard's tattoo: John G. raped and murdered my wife. Sammy's condition was not like other cases of anterograde amnesia in that Sammy was unable to learn through conditioning. The claim was denied because Sammy was not covered for mental illness. Mrs. Jankees, Harriet Sansom Harris, met privately with him. In trying to placate her, Leonard told her that Sammy should be able to make new memories. She tested Sammy's memory by repeatedly asking him to give her insulin injections. The caller identifies himself as a policeman and provides Leonard with additional clues for his quest. The caller identifies the second attacker as Jimmy Grants. Leonard agrees to meet the caller in the motel lobby. Leonard meets a man, Joe Pantoliano, and asks him if he is Officer Gamble. The man insists that Leonard should call him Teddy since he is undercover. Teddy gives Leonard directions to the meeting location and Leonard goes to meet Jimmy at an abandoned building outside of town. When Jimmy Grants, Larry Holden, arrives, he recognizes Leonard as the man with the memory condition. Leonard threatens Jimmy with a tire iron and tells him to strip. Jimmy pleads for his life and tells Leonard that there is $200,000 in the trunk of his car for payment of the drugs. The remaining story is in color, but proceeds in the film in reverse order. The film was released in the US on September 14, 1998. Leonard drags Jimmy into the basement. He hears Jimmy whisper Sammy before dying. Leonard concludes that if Jimmy knew about Sammy, he was not the second attacker. Teddy arrives at the scene and tries to convince Leonard that Jimmy was the man he was after. Teddy finally admits that Jimmy Grants was a drug dealer who did not have anything to do with his wife's killing. According to Teddy, Sammy Jankees was a fraud who was not even married and it was Leonard's wife who was diabetic. Lenny decides to continue the hunt, lying to himself to set himself up to kill Teddy. He puts a note on Teddy's photo saying don't believe his lies. He records Teddy's license plate number as John G's. Teddy sees the Jaguar parked outside and comes in, trying to get Lenny to get out of town in some new clothes. Leonard sees the note on the back of Teddy's pictures and decides to leave without him. After forgetting Teddy's revelations and the lies to himself, Leonard finds a tattoo parlor and has the license plate number tattooed onto his leg. Leonard finds a note in the pocket of Jimmy's suit coat, which he is wearing. The note is from a Natalie telling Jimmy to come to Ferdy's bar. Leonard thinks the note is for him and goes to meet Natalie. Carrie Ann Moss. Leonard says he awoke to sounds, got a gun, and found his wife being strangled. He shot one intruder, but a second man clubbed him with a sap and smashed his head into a mirror. Natalie tricks Leonard into going after a man named Dodd, Callum Keith Rennie, who she claims has been harassing her for the money from Jimmy's prior drug deals. Leonard leaves to look for Dodd. Teddy is waiting for him as he leaves Natalie's home. Teddy tries to warn Leonard about Natalie. Leonard calls an escort service. After falling asleep, the escort wakes him. He asks the escort to leave. He then takes personal items belonging to his wife to a reservoir and burns them. Leonard escapes Dodd and goes to Dodd's motel to wait for him. When Dodd returns to his motel room, Leonard beats him and ties him up. Leonard calls Teddy for help in dealing with Dodd. Leonard spends the night at Natalie's. In the morning she agrees to trace the license plate number tattooed on Leonard's leg. Later that day, Natalie gives him the information along with directions to an abandoned place outside of town where a guy she knew used to do bigger deals. Leonard takes it back to his motel. He concludes that Teddy is John Edward Gamble and must be the second attacker. He calls Teddy and they go to the same abandoned building where Jimmy Grants was killed a few days earlier. Leonard shoots Teddy in the head. 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 Shoots